too. So it's time to bring your husband to heel.
Housewives everywhere, are your husbands making your lives a misery? Well, don't panic because help has arrived. I'm going to get them ship-shape by using dog training techniques. And by the end of the series, I'll have them all well and truly brought to heel. With the help of my canine companions, of course. Men and dogs, aren't they adorable? Both creatures of habit, they're happy when fed, aren't too fussy what they drink, have an unhealthy obsession with balls, and enjoy sniffing out the opposite sex. But they're also both highly social animals, which makes them easier to train. So using dog training methods on men really isn't as crazy as you might think. Now pay attention, ladies. I've been training dogs for nearly 20 years, but I've been married a whole lot longer. And I firmly believe you can train a husband like a dog because, well, they both learn in exactly the same way. I'll let you into a little secret. I'm living proof it works. I haven't washed a dish in years. But before the husbands are brought to heel, believe it or not, the wives need a bit of training too. And this is where they'll learn. My dog training school. Each week I'll take one of Britain's desperate housewives and show them that by using my training techniques, you can teach a dog to do virtually anything you want. I'll then adapt those methods into a husband training program for each wife to take away and try at home. So, ladies, if you want piles of dirty dishes to be a thing of the past, keep watching. So let's meet this week's despondent wife and her troublesome hubby. Margaret and John Elliot have been married for 37 years. They have 3 children and 3 grandchildren. They live outside Darlington, where they've just moved into their dream home. They run the family business too, and although John has no problem cleaning up in the business world, where he's a high-flying top dog, cleaning up at home is virtually non-existent. He's a real mucky pup.
The biggest thing that has an impact on me that John does is that I spend most of my life tidying up after John. You do jobs, you cook your own breakfast.
Sure.
You don't clean up after you, but you cook your own breakfast.
Right. Well, cooking the breakfast is easier than cleaning up, actually, but never mind.
If I want to let John know that he's annoying me, I do nag him.
Well, she tells me off every day several times. And again, usually with good cause. 'Cause I do forget things and leave things in the wrong place, and I am very, very untidy. 90% of the mess in this house is down to me. Maybe 99%.
How do you have 3 knives and he's just got 1 plate? That annoys me, but I don't really throw that at you when you come in from work and make an... Oh, do I?
Sometimes you do. Well, it just gets very cross, and it's the tone of her voice that does it. John, you've left that down there again. John, it's the way she says John. It really sort of bites into my bones.
We're going to be retiring shortly, and if we're going to be spending some time together, I don't want to be spending it cleaning up and clearing away after John.
Well, there's an old dog firmly set in his ways if ever I saw one. But as the saying goes, it takes 2 to tango, and Margaret will have to make some changes first. And she might not like what she's about to hear. Go. If you want him to change his behaviour, you have to make the first change. You must stop the nagging because it hasn't worked. It hasn't got you anywhere. Even though you may enjoy it, it would be better not to.
It's a way of life.
He's got the behaviour, you've got the problem.
Okay,
Does that make sense?
I see what you mean. Leaving the dishes there isn't a problem to him.
No,
it's a problem
it's only
to
a
me.
problem to you. Well, you're probably wondering what this is on the board, Margaret. This is the basic formula for changing John's behaviour. You're going to ignore what you don't want anymore. Replace that behaviour you don't want with something that you do want, which is helping you with the dishes. But you must reward each tiny, tiny little increment towards the whole. And a tiny increment could be picking up 1 plate and carrying it to the sink.
Major achievement.
Well, it would be, wouldn't it? It's the first one. We're going off now, and we're going to show you how the dog can learn with the right sort of communication without nagging. And once you've seen that, then you'll be able to take those techniques away and use them on John.
Big task.
There are several ways to train a dog, but mine are all clicker trained. The sound of the clicker signals to the dog that its behaviour is correct. A reward follows. And the dog soon works out what it needs to do to earn its reward. And that's how we're going to train John too. Today's first dog is Holly with owner Rachel. OK, Margaret, it's all down to you. I want you to take Holly and just show us how you're going to stop her pulling on the lead. Off you go.
Come here, Holly. Holly. Come. Holly, here. No. Down.
But you know what she's doing? She's actually nagging Holly, nagging. And that's just what she does to her husband. Do you think we ought to tell her to come back? We've lost her over the horizon. Poor old Poppet. She's getting overexcited, covered in mud and completely exhausted. And the dog's not faring too well either. What Margaret should be doing when Holly pulls off in one direction is turn and walk in the other direction, and the dog has to follow. Yeah. He soon learns it's worth his while and he'll only get rewarded for staying by her side. Has Margaret worked out now where she's going wrong with husband John? Well, 9 out of 10 for effort, Margaret. This way, love. Come back. Did you have fun? So we could actually hear you. Can you confess to what you were saying?
Holly, come here.
Yes, how many times?
Lots of times.
Over and over again?
Yes.
And did it have any effect?
No.
No. And do you know what that's the equivalent to with John?
Nag.
Yes. The one thing you must be, Margaret, is consistent. If you go home and you say, OK, from now on, I will not nag that man, no matter how much I want to, zip the lips, I won't nag him.
That'll be difficult.
But you can do it, honey, you can. So just supposing you go for 3 days and you haven't nagged, and then on the 4th day you think, oh, blow this for a game of soldiers. I can't put up with it anymore. I've got to go. What you will have done, in actual fact, is to strengthen the bad behaviour of John. How many years have you been nagging?
Not quite 37. I didn't nag when we were first married.
The honeymoon period, yes, right. So for 37 years you've been trying to change his behaviour by nagging, and I think you can honestly say to yourself now that possibly it isn't working.
But why stop my pleasure?
So you admit you do get pleasure out of nagging. Fun. Training day draws to an end as an exhausted Margaret battles on with improving her techniques.
Down.
It's time for my final piece of advice, and the most important. How to reward every increment towards husband John's desired behaviour. And this is how she'll do it. If he even goes, shall I? No, I don't think I will. You reward him for the, shall I go and put it down? You get in there quick before he has a chance to change his mind.
Okay.
So I'm John. And I'm going to think, shall I? And you say, thank you, darling, what a good idea, OK? 1, 2, 3. Shall I put my coat away?
Thanks a lot, John.
Excuse me. Yes! Great! Now, there's one thing Margaret's going to find difficult when she gets home, and that's to discipline herself. She's got to bite her tongue and not react to the mess in that negative, nagging way. Oh, I wish her all the luck in the world. It's not going to be easy. Let's go husband training. Now, dear old John has no idea that Margaret's been to my dog training school, and he hasn't the foggiest notion that her newly learnt skills are about to be used on him. During husband training, John and Margaret's home has been kitted out with hidden cameras, and although John knows he's being filmed, he thinks he's taking part in a documentary about relationship roles. Sneaky, eh? But what are the chances of teaching this old dog some new tricks? Margaret must follow my advice to the letter if she's to succeed. She must ignore his messy ways, replace that behaviour with something she wants him to do, and reward every little increment towards the final goal.
You're early?
Yeah, a bit early. Have you seen my credit cards anywhere?
Oh, you're joking, John.
Remember, Margaret, don't nag him, Petal.
Starting to clear up, eh? Enjoy your salad, did you? John! Court!
Nagging won't get you anywhere.
You've just gone through there. I'm assuming you didn't need any of those envelopes that I've just put in the bin.
This looks all too familiar. Brace yourselves, everybody. I feel a nag-a-launch coming.
Where were they?
Well, on there, I don't know why you can't just put them away.
God!
And another thing, John, are you listening? Next time you have cooked meats, are you still listening?
Yeah.
How many times have I said, put it in a bag?
Good idea.
I put it in the study drawer. If you put it where it's meant to be, you won't even have to think about it, for goodness sake. It's like having a 3-year-old in the house. 2 minutes, John.
Okay.
John. If you talk a little bit more, you won't read as fast. This is a typical evening. I cook a meal, we sit down and eat it, I clear the dishes, he falls asleep on the settee. What more can I say?
Oh, Treasure, nagging didn't work on the dog and it's not working on John. You must zip the lips, my girl, or I'll be round there with a muzzle. Will you fare any better tomorrow?
I've been finding this process very, very hard. And I think probably it's been harder for me than John.
But the penny seems to have dropped overnight, and a more determined Margaret has a plan. She's going to resist clearing up John's lunchtime mess and see whether he'll clear it up when he gets home from work.
Well, another day, another day's mess.
But Margaret, my dear, as I said to you at dog training, he has the behaviour, but you have the problem.
Crikey.
Deep breaths, my love. Count to 10 and start again.
I'm a little bit apprehensive because I still feel quite annoyed that I've got this mess. It's taken a lot of my strength not to clear it away. When John walks in the door, I'll try and remain quiet, I think, because the natural thing for me to do would probably to make a comment, a snide remark, a nag, as Annie would say.
There's an enormous pheasant in the tree down there.
Really?
It's like the tree, I've never seen one in the tree before. See them on the ground, don't you?
Right, yeah. Actually, I'm just thinking, if you want to get on with your broadband,
Right.
not now, no. What I was thinking, if you can just help me clear those things, then I can start laying the plates, and then you can get a little bit more time on the broadband. Is that okay? If you do that, it would be much appreciated, and I'll get on with the other things.
Right. Well, you want to clean.
Yeah, if we just clear this off now.
Right, yep.
Yeah, great. Thanks.
And Margaret, remember, you must reward every little thing John does right.
Oh, cheers.
Well done, Treasure. But can you keep it up?
If you take smaller pieces.
Oh, Margaret, don't start nagging now. You were doing so well. Remember what I said. If you're not consistent, John will revert back to his messy old self. And he could get worse.
Can't be. Oh, sorry.
Just curious.
An hour later, and John comes back in after feeding the dogs. Oh dear, he's tramping dirt from his shoes all through the house. And if there's one thing that'll send poor Margaret into a nagging frenzy, it's stains on her mushroom-coloured shag pile. Take cover, everybody.
What do I do here? The phone's in now, isn't it?
John, your shoes have snow.
Trying your patience, am I?
You should have put your Wellingtons.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. He's with his tongue firmly in his cheek.
So by the end of Margaret's first go at husband training, her attempts at zipping those lips were pretty poor. John has reverted to his messy ways, and there's still a lot to do. Back to dog training school for you, my dear.
It's going to be a pretty long journey.
Well, after watching that performance, I can really only give the poor love 2 out of 10 for effort. So I'm going to try and teach Margaret something new which might help her. Time to tackle the retrieve. Now, I'm going to say, naughty, naughty. I did hear you nag to begin with. John, coat. Did you realise at the time or afterwards that it didn't get you what you wanted?
I think it was probably afterwards when I thought, why did you do that?
Yes.
Me saying something just bounces off John because he's not responding because it's just this nag.
If they don't want to hear it, and men are very good at this, they just cut it out of their lives. Now, I also noticed that when you asked John to do something, he almost did a double take.
Yeah.
And he started listening to you.
He did actually appear to be very confused at one time, you know, sort of, who's this woman? John actually said to me how assertive I was. And so he's noticed an immediate change in me.
The retrieve means picking up something from point A and taking it to point B. I click the behaviour I'm pleased with and reward it in order to encourage the dog to repeat the behaviour. Once I've taught the technique to Margaret, she'll see how we then adapt it to John, where the desired behaviour would be picking up his lunch things and tidying them away. Margaret must then reward him, a loving touch to signal the behaviour she likes, and then a lovely big smile and a thank you to mark the good behaviour. John's first replacement today is Summer, brought along by her owner Sue. Summer is going to learn the first stage of the retrieve, taking something out of a box. Good girl. Now, did you see the head into the basket? Yes. Now you can see I communicated immediately that that's what I wanted with the little click, which he can hear very clearly, even though we can't hear it very well. And the reward followed up immediately. You touched your toy, you clever old baggage. That was the next step, remember? Yes, not just putting her head down into the basket. Now I want her to touch the toy. Head in the basket is not enough. She's got to touch. And she put her mouth round it. Eureka, this is incredible. Yes. Wow. Oh, yes, you clever girl. So when John makes even the tiniest move towards clearing mess, Margaret must reward him. It didn't take little Summer long to work out what she had to do to earn a reward, but how long will it take hubby John? Margaret's going to have a go on a dog now. Her little trainee is Maggie, a Cocker Spaniel. Margaret is going to teach her step 2 of the retrieve, moving a toy from box A to box B. Okay, so what you're going to do is throw these out one at a time, and when she brings it back and hopefully drops it in there, you're going to click her as she drops it, and then you'll stick your hand in here and give her a little treatette. Take it away, baby.
Well done, Maggie.
Yes, you clicked when you were looking at me.
All right.
So you need to click at her because she's... Now, that wasn't too horrible, was it? No, it was lovely. Come on, soft and warm. A bit damp, but there you go.
Yeah.
Throw it out again. Okay. Oops. Now, what are you going to click for? It's okay, relax, relax. Just make up your mind, what are you clicking for?
If she drops it.
Bringing it back.
Actually, just bringing it back to me.
Yes, click for just bringing it back and then you'll be all right, okay?
Okay.
Now, does she understand the point?
Maggie, go fetch.
Good girl. Well, not bad, but what does she do? She dropped it away from where you want it.
Okay.
So next time, if she drops it away, just say, go on, try again. Fetch. Brilliant. Excuse me, that was only good. What a clever old baggage you are then, aren't you? You feel good?
Yeah, I do actually.
Excellent, yes. You've done so well, my girl.
Can I have a treat?
Well, I wouldn't advise you to have one of these, but we get you a nice chocolate biscuit or something. Well, that's Margaret's time at dog training school over, and now it's all down to her. I hope she's learnt from the retrieve that she needs to reward every little step towards the behaviour she wants from John, or she has to zip those lips. Fingers crossed she can do it. Margaret's first cunning plan when she gets back is to come home early and catch John making the mess. She's keen to start husband training straight away. Good for you, my love.
Hello.
Surprise, surprise. Thought you were tied up.
I am. I've got some papers. I thought I'd come back and have a cup of coffee. You couldn't make me a cup of coffee, could you, till I just scanned for these papers? Thanks.
Now here's an important lesson for all you ladies out there keen to start husband training. Contrast and compare last week when nagging got Margaret nothing.
If you put it where it's meant to be, you won't even have to think about it, for goodness sake.
To this week, just a clear and polite request for a cup of coffee, and John's got the kettle on faster than you could say sausages.
Thanks very much for this.
And she hasn't forgotten to reward him. good girl.
I just thought it would be nice to have a cup of coffee with you anyway. We seem to have lost the art of conversation, and I think as I become more relaxed and John is doing more, just the gentle touch on the arm is just that confirmation, the reward, without saying thank you, which probably is my instant reward at the moment.
Well, here's another chance to practice your click and reward, my love. John is actually putting his dishes in the sink unprompted. Oh, fiddlesticks, Margaret, a backward step. If you don't reward him every time he does well, he won't remember the behaviour that's pleased you. But Margaret still can't get nagging off her mind.
Would you like me to nag at you all the time?
Well, it seems to work, doesn't it? Or does it?
Well, I didn't nag at you today, and you didn't.
Well,
You put your plate away.
Well, it's anticipation. Maybe that's the thing. Just nag once in a while, and the threat after that's enough.
After lunch, Margaret is also feeling a little uneasy about her click and reward system.
Annie suggested, a gentle touch, a tweak of the cheek. I can't quite get my head around that because it would be very, not normal to John. I think I need to try and just practice just a gentle touch. But I need John to do something first before I can reward him.
Later that evening, a defining moment in husband training for John as Margaret throws him the $64,000 question.
What would you like to do? Clear the dishes or wash up?
Now let me think. No other options? Like neither?
No.
Although Margaret's still finding her feet in husband training John, after 37 years of marriage, they're definitely improving their communication skills. Helped along the way, of course, by creating a nag-free zone. How wonderful!
Glasses, do you need glasses? Yeah, probably do. Do you need anything?
John gave me a kiss before he went out, which I can't remember the last time that happened. He must be fairly relaxed about things, and yippee.
The next day, Margaret is keeping her beady eye on John at lunchtime again. But can she keep up the good work?
Come on, who's left this hat here?
Oh boy, he's put his hat away unprompted. It looks as if we're getting somewhere.
Well done.
What?
Putting your hat away.
Alright.
Oh, that's excellent.
Excellent. Margaret's clicking and rewarding like a seasoned pro, and John's responding well. But she's only managed to train John when she's standing over him. So the big test is, can he be Mr. Tidy when she's got her back turned? Time to find out.
Are you still all right for making the pudding for tonight? You said you'd do apple crumble.
You look better than me, wouldn't you? Yeah, I'm shotting. A little bit chubby. Sugar. It's John here. I'm not going to make it to this meeting, actually. You're not going to believe why not. I've got tired of some domestic chores. No need to laugh. It's better going with some apples.
Oh, John. Are you joking?
I must have missed something out. It's too simple.
Simple. You've done it.
Well, you want me in the oven, have you?
Well, you could have put it in the oven. Blooming heck. You've even cleared away.
Well, true, I have actually cleared out a bunch of those balls there.
I'm really impressed.
Well done, Treasure. What a good boy. But as we all know, the proof is in the pudding. So what do their daughters and granddaughters think?
Well, Richard, what's the verdict?
Very nice.
Nice. Sweet and tarty.
The meal's gone down great. The apple crumble was fantastic. Even the kids like the apple crumble.
What a good girl. Today's the day that John finally gets let off the leash. But has he worked out what's been going on?
So she's obviously been on a course for how to avoid nagging. And it's a good one. Hope it isn't too expensive because you'd have to keep it going.
Time to reveal all.
Hello, John. I'm Annie, and I'm the expert Margaret has been seeing over the past couple of weeks
To help try and change a few of your naughty little habits. But what you haven't been told is that I'm a dog trainer, and your wife has been using my dog training techniques to try and keep you out of the doghouse. But did she succeed? Let's take a look. John, my darling, your gorgeous wife Margaret loves you very much, but there's one little thing that drives her absolutely crackers, and that's your terrible messy ways. You never put your lunch things away. You use every plate and knife in the house, and you're constantly losing things. Honestly, my love, if you were married to me, you'd be in the doghouse morning, noon and night.
John! Court!
Quite frankly, Margaret's seeing red because all she seems to do is tidy up after you.
It's like having a 3-year-old in the house.
But of course, dear Margaret doesn't help herself by constantly nagging you.
I put it in the study door. If you put it where it's meant to be, you won't even have to think about it, for goodness sake.
He's got the behaviour, you've got the problem. Does that make sense?
I see what you mean. Yeah. Leaving the dishes there isn't a problem to him.
Now, off you go. At dog training school, Margaret got off to a shaky start, but soon realised that nagging got her nowhere. But after 37 years of nagging, could Margaret change her own behaviour?
How many times have I said, put it in
Good idea.
Margaret was finding it tough to stop nagging, so it was back to dog training for a refresher course. Brilliant. Excuse me, that was only good. Margaret had no trouble training the dog to put things in their place, but would she be able to train you into tidying up?
Well, I was thinking, if you can just help me clear those things, then I can start laying the plates. Is that okay?
And you seem to like the new nag-free zone at home, and didn't you show it, you old Romeo, you? But Margaret's final test for you was to make her an apple crumble without creating any mess.
You've even cleared away. I'm really, really impressed.
So Margaret finally managed to whip you into shape in the kitchen, and it's brought the sparkle back into your relationship. She certainly gets a rosette for bringing her husband to heel. Well done.
Would you enjoy a nag-free life?
Of course I would.
What if it meant that I never spoke again?
It's getting better by the minute.
I'm sure this will change our behaviour. I don't think it's going to radically change it. We wouldn't want that, in fact. But of course it'll change us. And maybe through time it will be diluted. But when you learn something new that's good, you stick to it.
John and I are actually communicating with each other again. We're not just talking about the office, about things that happen outside. We're talking about him and me and doing things together.
So with Margaret's nagging a distant memory, just time to reminisce.
John! John! Go on, let's see here one.
John?
No, that's too exaggerated.
John?
No.
So I can't do it now.
Well, John may have been an old dog firmly set in his ways, but Margaret managed to teach him a few tricks in the end. Here's a sneak preview of next week's hapless hubby, totally unaware he's about to savour the delights of dog training. Michelle has had enough of fighting for partner David's attention, but he refuses to give up the other love of his life, his blessed computer.
What would be really good, David, is really if you left work at work and let yourself relax a little bit.
Here's a top tip for all you dog lovers. Never drive with a dog loose in a car, because if you crash, you could both be seriously injured. Your dog is safest in a crate fixed to the floor of the car, in a safety harness made to take a seatbelt, or behind a special grille in the back of the car. Whichever you choose, your dog will quickly become used to that special place in the car and happily settle down whenever you both go for a ride. See you next week, dog fans.